You won't believe this. Senator John Kennedy absolutely mopped the floor with an arrogant college professor at a Senate hearing, reading out her filthy tweets for all to hear. The crowd went wild, and you gotta see it to believe it.
So let me ask you, I listened to your and Ms. Hemingway's testimony and Professor Turley's, so I got part of it. As I understand it, your position, Professor Franks, is that, I think you used the word myth. It is a myth that the Biden administration used government to compel speech, private speech, but that the Trump administration is doing that. Is that a fair characterization?
Yes, that's correct.
Okay. Do you think perhaps you're allowing your personal political beliefs to affect your objectivity here?
No, I do not. What is guiding my answers here is that I'm looking to see what the Supreme Court has said. You notice that in the testimony about the censorship industrial complex.
I got that part.
No,
I
just
got
want
that
to
part.
clarify.
No, but I've only got 5 minutes. Your answer is no, as I appreciate it. All right, let me ask you a couple questions. You wrote a law review article in December of 2023 for the New York University Law Review, and it was about the two cases, Bruin, Supreme Court case, and Dobbs. Remember that article?
Yes, I do.
Okay. In this article, you said, I'm going to quote your words, "Taken together, these two cases demonstrate that the Supreme Court has embraced the use of the Constitution as a tool of racial patriarchy," end quote. Did you say that?
Yes.
Okay. And then you went on to say, quote, "When the Supreme Court declares that there is a constitutional right to armed self-defense in public, it openly embraces and promotes a culture that privileges white men's ability to terrorize and kill those that they perceive as threats," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I believe so. Thank you for reading.
Okay. And did you also say in that article, I'm going to quote again, quote, "by simultaneously expanding white men's right to kill and constricting women's right not to die, this Supreme Court," referring to the current United States Supreme Court, "has turned the Constitution into a homicide pact as well," close quote. Did you write that?
That sounds like me.
Okay. In November of 2024, you tweet, don't you?
I'm not sure what the current terminology is for it, but yes, I am sometimes on the social platform that was formerly known as Twitter.
Yeah, you're on a lot, aren't you?
I'm not sure what the relevance of that is.
You try to be provocative on there, don't you?
Again, I'm not sure what the relevance
Well,
of this question is.
let me show you the relevance. On November 7th, 2024, from your tweet, here's one of your tweets at 2:41 p.m., quote, "The majority of Americans hate women. The majority of Americans hate women more than they love anything, including democracy," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
I am not sure what this has to do with the subject matter of this
Did you
hearing.
say it?
I do not have those words in front of me. I probably said something along those lines, but
Yeah,
what is
you
the
said it.
relevance of
Here
that
it
to
is,
this
big as
hearing?
Dallas, right there.
Yes.
But your political beliefs don't impact your feelings about President Biden or President Trump.
I don't have feelings about either of them. What I have
Sounds
is
to me
doctrine.
like your favorite feeling is anger. Let me ask you this. You issued another tweet. This was in May of 2022. You've just been tweeting up a storm. You said, quote, "There's a reason why the conservative-dominated Supreme Court thinks the Constitution does not contain a right to an abortion, but is convinced that it contains an individual right to possess firearms. And that reason is white male supremacy," close quote. Did I read that correctly?
Is there a question in this?
Did I read that correctly? That's
Is there
my
a question that is relevant to this hearing?
Did
This professor's out here pushing a narrative to her students that the white man's the root of all evil, blaming him for everything from your struggles to stubbing your dang toe. She's scapegoating an entire group for every problem in America. And this woman's getting paid not to educate, but to brainwash college kids seeking a real education. It's sickening. She kept dodging with, what's the relevance? What's the relevance? Like, are you kidding? If you're tweeting hateful and saying stuff, that says a ton about your character. Call me crazy, but I ain't putting much stock in what someone like that says after that. Those tweets matter, and Kennedy nailed her for it.
You really think that the United States Supreme Court, you're an officer of the court, is guided by white male supremacy?
I believe that the First Amendment prohibits the president
Did you
and other
say
state
that?
officials for punishing people for
Did
their
you honestly say that, Professor?
I
And you
believe
expect us,
that the First
as a
Amendment,
Democratic witness, to take you seriously? Are you kidding me?
I believe that you should take
You
the First
heard of
Amendment
curb your
seriously, sir.
enthusiasm? Here's my saying, curb my nausea.
Dr. Franks, we're here to talk about free speech, correct?
Yes.
And we're here to talk about that being a fundamental right guaranteed by the Constitution, correct?
Yes.
Okay. And the Supreme Court plays an essential role in guaranteeing those constitutional rights, correct?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I want to talk to you about a tweet that you had in January 2024. The Supreme Court is a death panel. Is that your opinion?
In the context of this hearing, I think it is important to emphasize why I am here, which is to talk about my views on the First Amendment and my understanding of the
That's not
doctrine.
what I ask you. Do you think the Supreme Court is a death panel?
In the
for
context
free
of the cases
speech?
that, not for free speech, no, that was not the context of that particular
Oh, my goodness.
communication.
Okay. Well, it appears that you see the Supreme Court as a death panel, and that is some of the same rhetoric that unfortunately we continue to hear from some on the left who are trying to villainize justices who are doing their job. And I would like to just ask you, knowing that you have put this out, that the Supreme Court is a death panel, then let me ask you this. Do you look at Justices Sotomayor, Kagan, Jackson as members of the death panel, or is this just the justices that you disagree with?
I do not believe that the comments that you are referring to have relevance for this particular hearing, but here's what I will say. This is an administration that people that he disagrees with. So yes,
Okay,
if your question is, do I defend judges?
I'm ready to
Am
move
I
on.
worried
Thank
about
you.
judges'
Ms.
security?
Hemingway,
I am.
I'd like to
I am
come
worried
to
about this
you.
administration essentially threatening those judges.
I want to talk with you, Ms. Hemingway, about the State Department's use of the Global Engagement Center to censor news outlets like the Daily Wire and the Federalist. I know that this is something that you have had to deal with. And Daily Wire is located in Tennessee. We're proud of them. We are delighted that they chose to move from California over to Tennessee. And it is my understanding that the Global Engagement Center was created to counter messaging from bad actors, including terrorist groups, but the Biden administration weaponized it to silence conservative groups. And what has the censorship, I call it the censorship industrial complex, what do you think they're trying to hide when it targets outlets like the Federalist and the Daily Wire?
Thank you, Senator Blackburn. Yes, our reporter, Margot Cleveland, who's our senior legal writer, uncovered through her reporting facets of the censorship industrial complex and learned that the State Department was one of the federal entities that was engaging with non-governmental organizations and other entities in big tech to market, promote, censorship tools and blacklists, which were then used against my publication, The Federalist, and also the Daily Wire. Publications that are a threat to the reigning orthodoxies are targeted by the censorship industrial complex. They want to exist without people pointing out their lies or the fact that there are really important debates. And so we are suing the State Department for that, and it is ongoing, this support of the censorship industrial complex. It is the bureaucracy, really, which perpetuates this even more than a particular administration.
Yes, and I think it's so important to note that robust, respectful, bipartisan debate adds to our freedom, helps to keep us free, and allows that debate in the public square. And when you have an entity that becomes weaponized and shuts down one side of that speech and only allows speech with which it completely agrees, that is when you have that censorship writ large. My time expires. Professor Turley, I have a question I will submit to you for the record. Thank you all for joining us.
What blows my mind is that some folks out there still think censorship isn't real. Let's get real. In the last 4 years, if you posted anything on Facebook, Twitter, or any big social media platform about COVID or something controversial, there's a good chance it got yanked down. Take the New York Post story on Hunter Biden's laptop, dropped 2 weeks before the 2020 election. Twitter killed it. No investigation, nothing. That story was 100% true, but they took it down because it helped Trump and hurt Biden. That's all you need to know about their agenda. They didn't want Trump winning in 2020, plain and simple. It gets worse. Mark Zuckerberg went on Joe Rogan's podcast and admitted the Biden administration leaned on him to pull posts about all sorts of stuff. Whatever happened to posting what you want on social media? That's the kind of world I want to live in. You can say the most out there thing, and I don't have to engage. If I disagree, I'll hit you with facts, not demand your post gets deleted. That's the coward's way out. These social media companies, especially ones getting government cash, got no business censoring anyone. They even banned President Trump himself, forcing him to start his own platform just to get his voice out there. That's how dystopian things got under Biden the last 4 years. What do y'all think? Should the government have any say in what gets posted on social media? Drop your thoughts in the comments. I'm dying to hear them. If this got you fired up, smash that like button, comment, subscribe, and let's keep this going. Wishing you all the best. Catch you next time.